Okay. Excuse me. So, in this session, I'm going to explain how Sherlock actually takes in a new project. What are the steps that we need to do to create a new project, and then and how to go about it. So, um, I'm actually in the Sherlock directory, the main directory of Sherlock, and so the way we have to invoke Sherlock is say Python main.py. So you have seen a bunch of text rapidly go by the screen. So that text is basically coming from Sherlock config, which basically looks at whether the services are currently running or not. Like for example, MongoDB, and whether the modules are present or not. For example, PyMongo and Scrapy. So it checks whether those services are running. Okay, and if everything's okay, it goes ahead and shows us this screen. Okay, this is the main menu, and you have all these options here. New crawl is nothing but um, um, when you want to create a new project or a standalone crawl or add a crawl to an existing project. So this option deals with those sub options. Okay, so when you select new crawl, you'll be shown a new screen, okay, which basically deals with all those options. And show status of running crawls. When Sherlock is running, there could be many crawling sessions in progress. Okay, so you wanna at any given point in time, you wanna look at you want to have a 360-degree view of Sherlock, what exactly it is doing right now, what sites are being crawled, um, what sessions are being written onto the database. So that kind of information, that kind of up-to-date information is given by show status of running crawls. Okay, show diff between two sessions of a project. Now, this is very important. As a user, we would like to know what content has changed between two sessions of a given project, right? Now, it makes no sense to compare, to have diffs between two projects, because a project is something of a grouping of related websites. When I say related, they are related to a case on hand. You might be investigating a case which deals with identity theft, assuming. Okay, so you might add LinkedIn, you might add Google, you might add some government database, and any other database that, like for example, DMV database, and so many other websites which actually deal with identities, like for example, social security database. So those websites uh, they're all serving for a common cause. The common cause is grouped under a given project. A project gets a name so that you can easily identify among lots of other projects. So um, that's what a project is all about. So when um, when a given project has lots of websites that are getting crawled, it's obvious that website A would be rapidly changing. Website B, it may not. But when website A is changing, you would like to know what differences has it. What differences are present from crawl one to two, crawl two to crawl three. So have what files have been changed? JS files, CSS files, HTML files. In fact, you would be interested to know what kind of text has been added inside these HTML files. If a new HTML file has been added, you would like to know what content has been added to the website through this HTML file, right? So so basically the divs are for the sessions of a given project. Okay, as of now we are trying to show the diffs between two consecutive sessions. Like for example, um, assuming that there are two sessions, there was one session yesterday, I mean there was one crawl yesterday, and there is another crawl today. So you would like to see the differences between these two crawls, right? So that is what we are currently doing. Maybe in future we might have to add um, diff functionality between, let's say, a crawl that was done 10 days ago and the crawl that was done yesterday. Okay, so it will show you all the differences that have occurred across all these files inside that website. Okay, now that is what we do when we select option 3. Now search is like a mini Google for Sherlock. It tells you, it allows us to search project names, site names, sessions, the text inside those sessions. When I say sessions, crawls and sessions are like interchangeable. Okay, and then diffs, the tag names, the labels, and the nodes, everything. Basically, whatever Sherlock has to offer, it's on a platter when we select search. So, using search, you can basically search any aspect, any facet of Sherlock, and that's what I mean. In future, we may have to we can give an option to search only a particular subset of Sherlock. For example, search only the project names, search only the tag names and the label names, so on and so forth, so that we can reduce the time it takes to search. Although MongoDB is pretty good when it comes to these kind of things, um, as and when the the content increases, right? So it will take a lot of time for us to arrive at meaningful search results. So we may have to filter out some aspects of searching. Okay, take notes when you are creating projects. It goes without saying that project will obviously have a lot of information day in and day out. Like for example, if you add a new site, that site gets crawled, and it has gotten crawled yesterday, it has gotten crawled today as well. So there'll be diffs, and you might be interested to see what diffs have occurred, and you might want to take notes for that particular diff. So as of now, the nodes aspect of Sherlock is associated with the project. So wherever the incident has occurred, something interesting, something that you want to take note of, all of that is currently tagged to a project. Maybe in future we might split this note-taking ability to different aspects of a given project. For example, take notes on a site, take notes on for a crawl, take notes on a diff or whatnot. So, um, so as of now, we are restricting ourselves to the project itself. Okay, browse projects and sessions. This is pretty self-explanatory. So we can select a project. We can see what crawl sites are present in the project, what sessions are present in the project, um, what tags, labels, diffs, nodes, that kind of information is present. That kind of information is shown rather for when you select option 6. Option 7 is silly. It is silly because you come all the way here only to exit. Okay, so that is what exit does. Okay, so let me just exit out and show you how it actually works. Okay, that's what it does. Now watch closely. The screen rapidly changes text. That text which is disappearing quite fast is coming from Sherlock config. See? Okay, good. Now let's add a new crawl. As you can see, the screen has changed. Now we are dealing with the new crawl option of main menu. You can clearly see the second line of the screen is telling you where exactly you are right now. So main menu, new crawl. Okay, you usually see this kind of information on web pages, right? So I've tried to incorporate the same kind of thing. Is a visual cue to tell you where exactly you are located right now on the screen or in the Sherlock project. Now let's add a new project. Let's enter the name of the project. Let's try to standard law. Let's say the depth is 2. We also make sure that when we add a site, we also make sure that the site is present and it is reachable. It also is a valid site. Let's add some dummy site and see if it actually works or not. Okay, let's say yes to this. URL of the crawl is this. Let's see if it works. So as you can see, it has found out that the site is invalid and is asking us to enter a new site. Okay, so there is a slight delay when it is showing you the error message. I have purposefully incorporated a delay of 2 seconds to actually give you a sense of I mean a feeling that something has gone wrong, so that you can be ready for the next step. So the next step is basically to add a valid site. Okay, let's add a site called NASA. Obviously, this doesn't make any sense. Since this is a demo, I'm trying to show you the aspects of the system, right? Okay. Now let's add one more site. Let's add USA.gov. That's it. I guess we don't have to add one more domain. Now it tells you the information that you have added so far. The project name is Fall, and we have added 3 sites for this particular project: Starrett Law, NASA, and USA. Okay, and those are the depths to which Scrapy has to descend into, and it is simply asking you, shall I start the project? So what it means is, uh, if you select yes for this, it's going to add this project to the MongoDB, and in the back end, the program Sherlock Checker is running, and it looks at the crawl sites table, and it tries to it determines that okay, 3 new sites have been added, and it gets into action and it supplies the um, Sherlock Scrapy the relevant information, like for example the site name and the depth Scrapy has to go into, and then Scrapy does its job, downloads all the information, and then it calls the content inspector. So basically, these are the workflow steps, right? So the workflow starts at adding a new project or adding a new crawl to a project or a standalone crawl, and then it ends all the way. I mean, it goes all the way into putting the data into the MongoDB. You can actually come back and see you can do the search. You can do the search, and you can see the running status of the crawl, of the crawls, and so on and so forth. As and when the crawl is happening in the background, you can get all this relevant information from this single screen. You don't have to leave the screen if you're busy and if you don't want to waste time in going back and forth, from invoking Sherlock again and then selecting the appropriate menu item and all of that. You don't have to do that. You can keep this screen alive, and then you can always do your work by selecting various options. Now, let's say yes to this. Now it is giving you some information, some debug information here, which is telling you the sites that have been added for this particular project. Now I'm simply saying I'm simply giving an option to press any key to continue. I remember this particular line, press any key to continue, is coming from Sherlock utils. Okay, wherever you see the menus, it makes sense to ask the user to continue to the next stage, next screen. So you have to ask him this question, and so obviously there's a situation where this particular code gets duplicated across various classes. So remove this code and put this code into Sherlock utils. Um, other method being clearing the screen. So wherever you see the menus, it makes sense to clear the screen and present a menu on a new screen. So clear screen happens to be one of those utility methods. Okay, so what we have done so far is we have added a project which goes by the name Paul, and we have added three websites to this project. Okay, so let's go back to the menu, crawl menu, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this website. I'm going to push this screen to the background, and I'm going to go into MongoDB and show you the project and also the sites. Okay, so let me go to MongoDB. As you can see, my Fedora system is a 32-bit system, and some part of MongoDB doesn't run well. But fortunately, this is all advanced functionality, which we are not dealing with right now. Okay, so let's use the Sherlock. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna show the databases here. Show databases. So we have all these databases: admin, local, Sherlock, starretlaw.com. Now, starretlaw.com happens to be one of those first tasks that we have done in our project. So Sherlock happens to be the second one. So let's go to Sherlock. So use Sherlock. Now let's see the collections here. Show collections. Collections are like tables, right? So these are the collections right now. So crawl sites, project notes, projects. Other two collections that I've spoken about in my first video, sessions and session pages, they don't yet exist yet because we have not yet crawled any websites. I'm going to show the website crawling part in a later video, and I'm going to show you the crawled information as well, how that information gets stored into the database and all of that. Okay, so projects. Let's go to the projects table. DB currently refers to the DB that we are in right now, which is Sherlock. So DB dot projects, which is collections, and find. Okay, so these are the records that you see. Some of them have been added earlier when I was testing the code. The one that we have interest in is this one, the last record. As you can see, this is the object ID. Object ID is something which is internal to MongoDB that we do not have to worry about. Project name is Paul. ID is 6. ID is something that we have come up with. Okay, it is not internal to MongoDB. I have created this ID for our own. I would say for ease of use later on. Okay, date added, which is today's date, and sites. Sites is a dictionary object. It's actually an array of. It's a list, but this list contains dictionaries as its elements. Okay, depth, site, depth, site, depth, site. So we have added three sites, so it makes sense to tally them here. So we have added three. I'm showing three here. Okay, now let's go to the crawl sites. Crawl sites is a table which is specific to the sites that need to be crawled, and these sites are um, when we add a project, the project information goes into the projects table. The sites information goes into the crawl sites table. Why I have created two different tables is to for our processing sake, it is much more easier. Um, for example, Sherlock Checker. For Sherlock Checker, it is quite easy to go into crawl sites and get a list of sites that needs to be crawled, instead of going into projects table and get each site list and then split the site list and then get the dictionaries. And I mean, it is such a difficult thing, code wise and processing wise. So to make my job easier, I've come up with two different tables. Okay, so let's see the crawl sites table. Okay, so the last three records are the ones which we have added right now: star@law.com, nasa.gov, usa.gov. The project ID, as you can see, they are tallying here. The project ID here and the project ID here, they are in agreement. Okay, and the date added is obviously, we don't care about the date. I've just put the date added um, information so that I can. We can have some future use for this column. Okay, ID is something which is specific to this particular table. As and when a new call site gets added, we increment the counter, ID counter, and then we add the record here. The same thing goes for the ID here as well. Okay, it is like an auto increment key. Every database has its own auto increment functionality. So I did the same thing here. Okay. Project nodes, we do not have any information, any nodes that is associated with this particular project right now. Okay, so I'm gonna quit this right now, and I'm in Python main. Let's see, what do we do? So I guess that's it. We have added a new project, and then we have added sites to this new project. And I guess we can do some more here, because we have not yet covered the adding of a crawl site to a given project. So let's do that. So as far as I remember, that option was number 2, right? So let's enter 2 here. Okay, so I'm right. So I've added. So we have added. We currently have 6 projects in our database. Project number 4 is pretty unique because this is something which is added by Sherlock itself, and we added a new crawl site, which is option number 3. Add a standalone crawl in this adding of new crawls menu. That is option number 3. Option number 2 is adding a crawl to an existing project. Okay, so what I was saying is number 4 here has been added by Sherlock itself. Okay, I told you earlier that there is no such thing as a standalone crawl, even though that's what we are telling to user. Um, a crawl is always associated with a project. Okay, so whether you create the project or Sherlock creates the project, it is immaterial, but a project gets created nonetheless. Okay, so let's do this. Let's add a project to number 6, which is Paul. Okay, I'm going to add Yahoo for. I'm going to add Google as well. Now, I need to tell you something. I'm actually not checking whether this particular site exists or not, but maybe that is something that we need to do later on. Okay, what is the depth? Let's say depth is 4 again. So I don't want to add any more projects here, so I'm going to say no. Again, the same thing happens. We are showing the user um, to um, to confirm his data entry, so to speak. So we're showing the sites as well as the depths to which we need to descend into. And then once we are done with this, we can say, shall I start this project? Or we can say yes. The same thing happens. Press any key to continue. Okay. Take a note of this. The option number 3 is standalone crawl. 4 is return to main menu, and 5 is exit. We need to remember this because we are switching back and forth between MongoDB and this particular screen. So let's do this. Let's send the screen to background. Control Z. Then let's go to MongoDB again. I'm going to say use Sherlock. Um, we are interested in seeing the projects table and the crawl sites table. Okay, so we have added Yahoo and we have added Google, right? So as you can see, the that information has been appended, so to speak, to this Paul project called Paul, which has an ID of 6. Okay. Earlier we saw only we saw USA.gov, NASA.gov, and then we have seen starredlaw.com. So the two new sites are Yahoo.com and Google.com. Let's see if we can scroll up and no, the screen ends there. That's fine. Okay, let's see the crawl sites table as well. Crawl sites, fine. I'm sorry. Let's delete this and say DB. Okay. Okay, as you can see, type it for more. That's good. So as you can see, we have added two new sites here, yahoo.com and google.com. Yeah, the IDs are incremented as usual, and the crawl sites are being shown as they should be. Um, I guess that's it. That we have just added two new sites to an existing project. Now let's get out of this shell, MongoDB shell, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to say FG, which brings us back to the Python main.py program, but actually it is showing the new crawl information, right? So um, I'm going to display. I'm going to add standalone crawls, which are basically um, sites which are not related to any project. Okay, the UI gives an impression to the user that it is not creating a project, but internally what happens is Sherlock is assigning projects to these sites. Okay, so I'm going to say 3. Okay, so please enter the URL of the site to crawl. Remember earlier we were asking the project name for the first two options. We are not doing so right now. Okay, so please enter the URL of the site to crawl. So let's enter the URLs. Www. What should we do? Okay, so let's add. No. Let's add Instagram. Depth is 3. Yes, let's add one more. www. Pinterest. 5. Nope. Yes. So if you can look at the screen, it is not telling you the name of the project because we are hiding the fact that we are not creating any project from the user. We're just giving an illusion that I know he's crawling the sites independently. But as I told you earlier, every crawl site is associated with a given project. So say yes to this. Oops. Oops, there is a problem. Okay, I guess the problem is pretty simple to fix. We can do this. Uh, okay, let's go to Emacs Sherlock core, Sherlock crawl. Okay, so we have fixed this problem. So let's run this again. Okay, so let's take new crawl, standalone crawl. Let's add the crawl sites again. Uh, okay, what did we add? Okay, Instagram, yes, and we have added Pinterest. Okay, so please enter the. Okay, I'm sorry, I should have said no to that. What else we have? Okay, Reddit. Oops. Yep. Okay, as you can see, it has created these crawl sites and it has added them to the MongoDB. Now we are going to switch back to MongoDB and see if it has added these projects. Okay, I'm sorry, added the crawl sites. Use Sherlock. Use no, say db.projects find. So basically, it would have created a project, system-defined project, and it would have created, it would have put all these crawl sites inside that project. So let's see them. Okay, as you can see, the project name that Sherlock has given is pretty cryptic, but that's how it should have been. It should be rather. The project 1339. This is basically the timestamp, epoch timestamp, and the project ID is 7, and you can see the sites that have been added, 3 sites that have been added. Let's do this. Let's go to crawl sites and see if it has added these crawl sites as well. I mean, added these sites to this table as well. Fine. Let's type it. As you can see here, Instagram, Pinterest, and Reddit have been added. Okay, so that basically wraps up adding of a new project and also the crawl sites to to the MongoDB through Sherlock. Okay.